Welcome to George Coll Fine Art. Here, the viewer is encouraged to get outside and paint from life. George's job is to provide the tools to solve the many technical challenges faced in rendering landscape paintings. View the library of landscape paintings offered and become a subscriber. You can also purchase tutorial videos, plus original tutorial and studio paintings. Thank you. And if you like what you see, click the subscribe button and join in on the fun.
Hello and welcome to part 2 of Indian Peaks. I'm George Coll, and part 2 is balance, and what we did today was make a lot of progress in 30 minutes. And what I mean by that was I balanced the new value colors compared to what's surrounding it, and does it balance with those things. So as you can see, my trees have come forward, my mountains go back, and then I have this spectacular color in the back from the sunset, and I go through that step by step on how I did that today. So this is going to be a good one, and don't forget, paint with your friends, get critiques, get outside and paint, and don't be intimidated by a blank canvas. Just do it. All right, let's get started with part 2. Hey, hello and welcome to part 2 of Arapahoe Peaks. So today is Balance Day, and what I mean by that is we're going to balance how are these value colors balancing out with what's next to it, and is it working in coordination with the whole painting. So that's what balance is today. I've got a pretty good drawing down, but I have a few concerns, and one is this tree seems to go so I've got to fix him, and I think I need more yellows in a few places. So let's get started and make those corrections first. So to work with this, I'm going to, that tree, I'm going to go a blue, it's gray-green, some people call it sap. This particular one is a student color by Winton, dark, V-E-R-D-I-G, Viridris. Never heard of it, but I love it. It, just a good, solid, dark old green. So this is basically a blue, a green, and a brown. And let me see what I can do about helping this tree shape out. Maybe I'm going to put one up in here too. Have a couple of them. Yeah, I kind of like that. Let's get a little bit more blue, brown, green. Throw in a little lizard. And darken that guy up there just a little bit. And I think this guy needs a little bit more flush out here. I think I've got one more drawing concern, and that's this bank. It's too far to the right. So I will bring him out just a little bit. And I need some, probably some Naples in this mixture right here. And a little bit more green. Added just a little white, and that was not a bad mixture. Nailed it pretty good. I think I could use some darks on the lower right. So I'm going to go back to the same pine tree color, blue, green, brown, let's bring this dark down a little bit more. Throw some red in there too. Blue, green, and flush it out a little bit. Now, one thing I see next is when I'm finishing up one area, I say, okay, what does that bring to mind of what to do next? And I think what I see is that the light color inside the warm sunset needs to be lightened. So I'm going to, I got that inspiration by looking at the reference. So we're going to get some lemon yellow and white. Lemon yellow, white. And, ooh, that really added some zing to the painting. I think this whole yellow thing has to be moved over to It's such a beautiful time of day to be out there. And I'm going to get some Hansa yellow next and put some of that around in a few places, and just a little bit of Indian, white, yellow, Indian. And I see just a little bit more of some of that in a few other places. Next I want to go down to the left side of the sky and do some more lightning. Not the boom kind, but in value. So let's get some white, some cerulean. I'm sorry, this is cobalt. And I'm going to lighten it even more right in here. Excuse me. And what this does, it does a good job in lightening and determining the tops of the mountains. It kind of offsets that dark color, this light color over on this side. Now I'm going to go to dark gray and get some of this dark gray stuff. I'm going to get some blue in there. Let's see if I have some Prussian. This is Gamblin Prussian Blue. Gamblin Prussian Blue. Be careful with it, it's a very strong pigment. And if you're struggling with trying to get something darker, just add a little bit of Prussian to it. Prussian. Prussian on itself is extremely dark, as you can see there from my palette. And we're going to add some more gray to that. And some cerulean. Gray. And I'm going to add just a little bit of Viridian green to it. Excuse me, why do I not have Viridian out here? Sorry. Here we go. Viridian and Prussian is Pretty magnificent. A little bit of blue. Just a touch of brown. All right. Now we're getting some effect of that sky up there. And what I'm going to do off camera is soften the edges with my palette knife. So I go to my most flexible knife. It's called a connoisseur. It's got a nice point to it. And I'll be softening those dark edges with my knife. All right, so I think I'm starting to say drama up there. So let's get back, take a look at the drama. And one thing I can see when I get back is my light yellow is still not light enough. So I'm going to go back in. And lighten it even more. With that, just a little bit. And see if that does the trick. Okay. Now I think the next area I want to do is lighten up these mountains even more, okay? So I'm making that judgment because after I got this sky, and particularly this light here and this light here, it's time to say, okay, I need to even go lighter on my mountains. So let's do that. So I have, I think, this little bit of cerulean blue over here. I'll work on that. That might be too light. So I'll pick up some of that Prussian I've got over here, lighten that up, or I'm sorry, darken that up. And let's see what I can do here. Too much like the sky, so I'll add some more blue, ultra. Boy, that was too strong. You can see as soon as you put the pigment in, you go, you put too much pigment in there. Jeez, what were you thinking? And now I'm working it in. I think we're a little bit more on the neighborhood where we want to be. Oh man. It's funny how a pigment can just liven up a painting so much. And those two are working very well together, very abstracting. But I think I need to lighten up that sky a little bit more. So I will get some of the old cerulean, I think, or no, was it cobalt? Cobalt. And we will put a little bit more of that in here. And lighten the sky a little bit more. So with this, you're saying where the mountain begins and ends. You can kind of see the top of it. right there. Let's experiment a little bit more with cobalt and work with that back in here in the back trees. The cobalt is a little sticky from yesterday. I had it out all night and it's a little tacky. So I'm going to add just a touch of Gamsol. And see what that'll do in here. As you can see, I'm experimenting with these cooler colors within the painting, and it's kind of fun. That may be too strong, so I will mix a little bit of the background color into it and soften that in there. It's a little intense. And that lightens that up a little bit. Uh-oh, I lost my image. Excuse me. On my monitor. Okay, let's go back. My computer was also updating an update. And you know, those ones that you have to agree to and say I agree, the bigger downloads, I think. And it turns the computer off. So I am just going to fly blind here. Now, I think now, with this configuration, these lightings and so forth, I'm going to have to lighten this guy up right here. What I'm doing is just blending these different colors now up there, since I had a clean brush with just some Gamsol in it. So I'm going to go into here now and lighten up that area. I had some of this pine tree left over, and I am going to just add some lightener to it, and it's just not doing it. So I'm going to go into this cobalt and darken it with this, and then you can see that the both two are related. Let me lighten that a little bit more. And I think that is coming along a little bit better. And it can also describe the pine trees. All right. Well, my computer is doing the thinking. It's good to have these challenges because you can say, where is my balance on this? And I know looking at the image really helps, but still, sometimes you just have to fly blind on this thing. So let's work with these foreground colors here and lighten them up. If you really look at what we were doing yesterday, we had these, and if you look at these foreground colors, they really seem bright, but in reality, you have to kind of bring them down a little bit. And when you're working with all these darks around there, if you go in too bright, it just doesn't look like reality. So I'm making some mixtures to lighten up these foregrounds. And here's what I'm doing. Just layering this stuff in here too. Get some interest in the foreground so it doesn't look so darn depressing. Oh, I need a richer green. So I'm going to go to some permanent green. Something that with a little bit more, get some cobalt in here. More enriched color. So this is cobalt and viridian. And now you can see a richer color in here. I better pay attention to my time. Okay. 10 minutes, I am doing well, thank you. Now I want to go to a darker green, so I have some of the pine tree green next to it. And I want to enrich that with some of this richer green we're making. And you can see, if you really look at the reference, which I'm not doing right now, you can see all these variations of values going on in here, and that's what I'm trying to describe and emulate. Now I know there's some real good darks down here on the bottom. And I don't want to lose those. I think my dark right back here has to be strengthened. So, here I go. Cobalt, viridian. Don't think it's doing the trick, so I am going to just get some on the edge of my palette knife and whack it in there. That says dark. All right. This is a little too strong on this side. So I want to go back with some stronger darks and reestablish some neat dark patterns without losing that good rich green that I put in there. So I think let's get some pine tree green in here, which would be cad yellow medium, ultra blue, and it makes for a yellowy pine tree green, which I think I just made, and it's working. Okay, let's get some of that in, particularly these upper parts of the trees. Throwing in more cad yellow medium, cad yellow medium. And that's helping out too. I'm going to go in with a brown green. With a little bit of maples in it, and it even helps out a little bit more of what I want to say. Bringing in some worms. right before I leave part 2, I want to brighten up that background water, which is right here. It's really important. So I'm going to work on that next. Mixing the light with my palette knife. Whew, that may have showed up too much, but boy, that did the trick, didn't it? And check my time. Ooh, getting short. Let's go back to cobalt, alizarin, and let's get some honkin' darks in here. That's an art school term, honkin' darks. Again, if you want some dark, pull out your Prussian. Okay, whew, I think we better bring this to an end. Now off camera I'm going to soften those edges, but I think basically this thing is really working pretty good so far for a nice little 9x12 study. So this might also do very well with a larger painting. I always have that in mind when I'm doing these smaller paintings. How would this go and look if I was to go bigger? And when you do this, you work out a lot of these little value problems and drawing problems with these little guys. But thank you for coming by for part 2, and I'm looking forward to finishing this thing off tomorrow in part 3. All right, let's bring this to an end.